This tutorial is a quick introduction to the Sketchbook Express app on an iPad. When you first open the app, you may need to click the New Canvas button at the top. It depends if there's an image there or not. If the page is blank, you can just go ahead and pick your paintbrush. You can change the size of your paintbrush using that slider. You can change your brush type if you like, and you're gonna pick a color to start drawing. Now that I have my brush ready, I'm going to turn on the Symmetry Tool. You can really draw anything symmetrical that you like, but I tend to like drawing little characters and they sort of end up looking like aliens. So for this project, I'm going to call it my alien family. Start in the center of your canvas, and you're going to notice when you draw on one side of the screen with the Symmetry Tool, all of the shapes are going to be repeated on the other side. If you ever need to zoom in and take a closer look at what you're doing, you can use that two-finger pinch motion to zoom in and zoom out on your drawing. So I'm just going to keep working here. My little alien, he's got some nice big mouse ears and a top hat. Now something that's probably going to happen to you while you're drawing is you're going to make a mistake. So I want to point out at the top of your screen in that toolbar, you're going to see a little back arrow. That's the undo arrow. So anytime you make a mistake, you can just hit undo and then go back and try drawing your picture again. Now most of my alien is symmetrical, but I realized I don't want the arms to be the same. So you can go back and turn off your Symmetry Tool if you want to change both sides of your picture. So on one side, I'm going to put his arm sort of hiding behind his back. And on the other side, I'm going to bend his elbow because he wants to wave at you and say hello. So there's his little hand waving. And my alien is almost ready for color. I just need to go and zoom in and make sure there aren't any holes. We're going to be using a paint bucket to add color, and if you spill that paint bucket and there's a hole in one of your shapes, the color is going to spill out onto the background. So take a minute and really examine your drawing and make sure there aren't any holes that might let some of that paint escape into a shape next to it. So now I'm ready to add color. I'm going to go back and click on that paintbrush, but then choose the paint bucket or the flood fill tool. I need to choose a color. And when I click, oops, it's black. I thought I'd chosen green. So let me hit that undo. And I chose green in that outer circle, but I also have to go into that diamond shape and pick the value that I want to use. So now we've got a light green for one side of his jacket, and he's kind of fashionable, so he's going to have a darker green on the other side of his jacket. And now I'm just going to take a minute here and speed this up a little bit and try to fill in some of those colors really quickly so I can show you the next step. So earlier I mentioned that I was making a family, and instead of drawing each member of the family one at a time, I'm going to show you how to cheat. If you click in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see your layers drop down. At the bottom, there's two plus signs next to each other. If you click that button, it's going to duplicate your layer, and now you're going to have two little aliens. And you can't really tell yet because one is directly on top of another. So you have to click those three little dots, and that's going to bring down your transform tool. If you do that two-finger pinch and drag your alien over to the side, you can find a nice little spot for him standing there next to Dad. Now I happen to know that this family also has a little brother, so I'm going to go back and duplicate that layer again. I need to touch on those three little dots and use the transform tool. I'm going to pinch my two fingers together and drag the little brother off to the side. He's kind of a smaller little brother. And now we have three guys in our family, but we need to make room for Mom. Now this is an awesome app and it's free, but it has one kind of major flaw, and it only lets you do 3 layers. So in order to make one more layer, what I'm going to have to do is merge 2 of those layers together. Can you see that top layer has a blue ring around it? That is the layer that I'm on. And at the bottom, there's a down arrow. If I click that down arrow, it's going to move those 2 layers together. And then I'm going to go and click on that bottom layer, go back to Dad, and duplicate him slide them over to the right, and that's the one that I'm going to turn into Mom. Now, don't you think Mom deserves a nice little hairstyle to make her look more like Mom than Dad? So when I've got her in the spot that I want, I'm going to click that word done up in the right hand corner. I've actually been doing that every time I finish a transformation. And then I'm going to go back to my paintbrush tool and make sure I've got a paintbrush instead of the paint bucket. Choose a color for her hair and give Mom a nice little hairdo. Now that Mom's all set, I want to add a background color. So I need to go back to the layers and make sure I'm on the bottom layer before I pick my color. I'm going to make that bottom layer highlighted in blue and then go back to that paintbrush, pick a color, nice bright color for the background, make sure that the paint bucket is on instead of the paintbrush, and just click to flood fill the background. And there is my family. Before I finish, there's one more thing I need to do, and that's sign my name. So I'm going to go back to the paintbrush and pick a nice skinny black line and use that 2-finger pinch motion to zoom into the corner and just sign my name in the corner, and I'm going to be ready to save it. Here's how we save it. Are you ready? Up in the left-hand corner, there's those 4 little squares, and that is the gallery button. So click on those 4 squares, and yes, you certainly want to save. And you're in the gallery, but we want to send it to the photo library. So that little flower shape with the arrow pointing to the right, that will take you to the photo library. Choose your orientation. Then once you have it there, we can send it to Flickr or upload it to Google Docs or email it to your parents or whatever it is that we're going to end up doing with these files today. Now go make something beautiful.